Let's dive deep into this story. We're looking at a fascinating piece of Islamic tradition today that hits right at the heart of a massive human dilemma. That tension between deep personal religious devotion and just raw, immediate human suffering. We're going to follow this absolutely incredible account of a poor cobbler. We'll look at his lifelong dream and the agonizing split-second choice he makes that literally redefines the very meaning of worship.
So what actually happens when the dream of a lifetime completely collides with the sheer desperation of a total stranger? That's the philosophical hook right at the center of this whole explainer. Think about it. We all have those big goals, right? Things we grind toward for years, maybe even decades. But imagine finally standing right on the brink of crossing that finish line, only to be hit with a situation so dire, so heartbreaking, that moving forward with your own dreams suddenly feels entirely morally impossible. Keep that thought right in the back of your mind as we unpack this.
Okay, so our story centers on this incredibly impoverished cobbler. And he had this one, singular, lifelong dream to perform Hajj. That's the sacred pilgrimage to Mecca, which is a core pillar of the Islamic faith. According to the source texts, he'd literally just watch other people pack up and leave for this holy journey. And despite having next to nothing himself, he'd confidently say, Inshallah, God willing, that one day he too would make that exact same sacred trip. I mean, this wasn't just some passing thought for him, it was the absolute anchor of his entire existence.
And the sheer scale of the effort he put into this, it is staggering. Every single day, he's out there enduring grueling, back-breaking labor, just sewing and repairing slippers for tiny, meager coins. Over years and years, he's denying himself basic, everyday comforts, slowly scraping together these tiny savings to build up a Hajj fund, until finally the day actually arrives. He does it. He's saved enough, and he proudly joins the caravan of pilgrims heading straight for Mecca.
But then, the journey suddenly halts. The caravan stops so the pilgrims can get some rest, and the cobbler decides to step away into the nearby brush for a moment. And it's right here, away from all the noise and the bustling crowd, that his completely ordinary journey just fractures. Out of nowhere, he spots a veiled woman doing something so highly unusual, it immediately sets off massive alarm bells in his head.
He literally watches this woman cutting meat off a dead animal carcass. Now, in Islamic jurisprudence, this is known as murdar, basically carrion. And let me be clear, this is strictly, unequivocally forbidden to consume in Islam. There's only one major exception to this rule: extreme, life-threatening starvation. So seeing someone do this is a huge red flag. Naturally, he's deeply disturbed and concerned, so he decides to quietly follow her back to her house just to figure out exactly what she's planning to do with this forbidden meat.
And that leads him to a truly horrifying realization. Just picture the scene for a second. The cobbler tracks her to this small, rundown house. He creeps up quietly, peeks through the window, and inside he sees the woman. Now, based on her hijab and her demeanor, she's clearly a practicing Muslim. But she is building a fire, getting ready to cook this forbidden, scavenged meat. And then the reason why hits him like a freight train. She is preparing it to feed her little children.
Where the cobbler absolutely cannot stand by and just watch this happen. He reacts instantly. He starts banging and yelling, "What are you doing? Open the door! I won't let you do this!" He's just completely shell-shocked. He confronts her head-on, absolutely determined to stop her from breaking religious law and feeding her family something so explicitly forbidden. He essentially demands to know what could possibly drive her to such a desperate act. Through her tears, she finally opens the door and drops a heartbreaking confession. She tells him she is a Sayyadi. That means she is a direct descendant of the Prophet Muhammad. Talk about a profound layer of tragic irony, right? Here is a descendant of the very prophet who brought the faith to begin with, and she is so utterly destitute, so completely ignored by society, that she's forced to feed her children carrion just because they are literally dying of starvation. She had absolutely no other choice to keep them alive.
The cobbler's pivot here is instantaneous. Without missing a beat, he tells her to throw that forbidden meat away right now. In a split second, he abandons his entire Hajj journey. The whole thing, he pulls out his life savings, the exact same coins he spent years and years sewing slippers to save up, and he uses every last bit of it to buy them proper food and rations. No hesitation whatsoever. He trades his ultimate spiritual dream for their immediate physical survival.
You can really feel the profound weight of this sacrifice in the mother's reaction. Crying tears of pure gratitude, she throws her hands up in prayer and cries out, "Oh Allah, grant this traveler success in both worlds." And with that beautiful prayer echoing in his ears, the cobbler just quietly turns around. He doesn't go back to the caravan.
He walks all the way back to his village. His pockets are totally empty, and his lifelong dream is left entirely unfulfilled.
Now, let's fast forward a bit. Months roll by and the Hajj caravan finally returns from Mecca. And the cobbler, despite the obvious internal heartbreak he must be feeling about missing out, he goes right out to the village square with flower garlands to welcome the pilgrims back. He just wants to celebrate their successful journey, showing this honestly incredible lack of bitterness about his own situation.
But here is where the central mystery of our story really takes off. As he's trying to garland these pilgrims, they're looking at him like he's crazy. They're like, "Why are you garlanding us? You were literally right there with us in Mecca." The pilgrims are absolutely adamant that he performed Hajj right by their side. Meanwhile, the villagers standing there are just as confused, insisting, "What are you talking about? He never left. He came back months ago and has been here in the village this whole time."
The crowd is completely stunned by this paradox. They turn to the cobbler, totally amazed, asking him, "What great deed did you do?" Because they realize something deeply supernatural has just occurred. They figure out that Allah accepted his Hajj so perfectly that he was somehow seen over in Mecca while literally sitting at home in his village. They are begging to know what incredibly righteous act he pulled off to earn that kind of miraculous honor. So, with tears in his eyes, the cobbler tells the crowd the whole story about the starving family. And he hits them with this incredibly powerful justification. He says, "If I went to Hajj and these children died of hunger, what face would I show to Allah?" Wow. That single sentence completely dismantles the idea that ritual devotion can just exist in a vacuum, ignoring actual human suffering. Like, how could he possibly stand before God in Mecca, knowing he let God's own creation starve to death on the way there?
The source texts reveal the profound resolution to all this mystery. It was a literal miracle. Because of his extraordinarily pure intentions and his massive, selfless sacrifice, God didn't let his lifelong dream die. Instead, God sent an angel looking exactly like the cobbler to perform the Hajj on his behalf. That is exactly why the pilgrims saw him there. The angel walked the steps the cobbler couldn't, beautifully honoring the supreme sacrifice he made back in that jungle.
And this brings us right down to the core philosophical takeaway of this whole explainer. On one side, you have ritual worship, the Hajj, this massive, mandated pillar of faith. But on the other side, human compassion, saving a starving family. The narrative makes it crystal clear. God values love, empathy, and service to his creation just as much as, if not way more than, strict ritualistic observance. True devotion isn't just about facing Mecca, it's about facing the suffering of your fellow human beings.
Which leaves us with this final, lingering thought to chew on. If true worship is actually found in serving others, who in your life is waiting for your Hajj? Where's that opportunity in your own day-to-day life to sacrifice a personal desire for the immediate, desperate need of someone else? It's such a powerful lens to view our daily interactions through, really reminding us that sometimes the most sacred journeys are the ones we abandon for the sake of another.